Hey everybody, let's talk about the Game Awards that happened last night, and I actually streamed last night on Twitch, so if you want to see the stream that I did with, talking with Hirosashii while we were watching the Game Awards, I have it on my Twitch channel, and I'll link it below. Like, the entire thing, you can watch on my Twitch channel, and, only a little bit of it is muted. It's funny because the only trailer that was muted was the trailer from the new game that they showed off at the very beginning from the Firewatch people, and I thought that was funny. It was like, of all the trailers to be muted, that was the one that muted my stream. So yeah, that's really weird, but everything else you can hear. So yeah, so let me get into what happened at the Game Awards. I don't want to go over every single little thing that happened, but I do want to go over things that stood out to me. And also some criticisms I have about the Game Awards to make it better, because there are some things that I thought were kind of questionable. There were obviously a lot of awards given out, so I'll go over those now. For the games that I cared about, Cuphead won a couple of awards for Best Debut Indie Game and, Best, art direction? Yeah, that's the one it won. Because, Best Music went to, Nier Automata. Or Nier Automata? Is that how you're supposed to say it? Because I've always been saying Nier Automata. Or is that just like a tomato-tomato thing? But I'm very glad that Cuphead won a couple of awards, because it really deserves it. Persona 5 won Best RPG, which I've heard is really good. And what's funny about that is that they have a lot of categories that they just sort of skim over during the show, when they could have made them a bigger focus when these other categories were a bigger focus. Like, Best Esports Player and, like, Trending Gamer, I feel like aren't important enough. Not to, like, put anybody down, but those aren't celebrating games, they're just celebrating the people who play games. So I feel like some of the categories were just put to the side, while these other ones were just sort of put on a pedestal. Best RPG should have been a focus, because from what I've seen this year, a lot of great RPGs released. And there's just a lot of fluff in this award show, compared to something like the Oscars, where they go award, 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 and there's some things in between. And there's definitely some fluff in the Oscars, but not as much as this. So far, my favorite award show has been the Annie Awards, because they kind of get right to it in giving out all of the awards. And I understand with the Game Awards, they need to have sponsors and everything, because this is an online-only thing with a really big production. But so is the Annie Awards. It's only been really online when they broadcast it. So yeah, I don't get why it has to be, like, huge. You don't really need an orchestra. You don't need performances like that. You don't really need world premieres. This isn't an E3. I do like that there's sort of a mini E3 at the end of the year, but again, it's still just kind of fluff for an award show. You don't see new movie trailers at the Oscars, or new trailers for animated stuff at the Annies. That might be something that I just personally think is wrong with the Game Awards, but you might have a different opinion, and that's fine. Like I said, I do like seeing new trailers, but I feel like this is the wrong place. And of course they had Game of the Year, which went to Breath of the Wild, which also got Best Game Direction and Best Action Adventure. And I'm really glad it went to Breath of the Wild, because I played that game earlier this year, like for over 150 hours, and I'm probably going to play it more because of what they announced during this show. So let's get into stuff that they announced that I was interested in. So relating to Zelda, they revealed the second DLC pack, which actually came out last night. Because after they showed the trailer, they were going to say it was going to be available tonight. Because everybody was wondering when it was going to come out, but apparently it's out now. So if you've been waiting to play that part of the DLC, it's out now. And it looks like a lot of fun. And this is sort of the DLC pack I was waiting for, to have like a new sort of story to go through. Though I still do want to play the first DLC pack with the trials, which look really fun. Then in Switch-related news, they revealed that Bayonetta 1 and 2 are coming to the Switch, and in February, so very soon, in a couple of months. So I'm definitely going to pick that up. I do have Bayonetta 2 and 1 on the Wii U, and I played a little bit of it, but I didn't play through it all the way. So I'm glad that it's coming to the Switch, because now I kind of don't want to go back to the Wii U to play it. So now I can have it on the Switch and just play it on that. And yeah, that's very, very exciting. But that wasn't it. Jeff Keighley was talking to Reggie Fils-Aimé on stage, and Reggie was saying that that wasn't the only thing that they were going to show. They weren't going to just show ports, a trailer, and then just call it that. They showed another trailer which was pretty much a teaser, the same kind of teaser that we got for Metroid Prime 4, and that's Bayonetta 3. So Bayonetta 3 is now in development for the Switch. So yeah, the Switch is getting a lot of great games, ports of great games, and also great exclusives. So I'm very excited about that. The first Bayonetta I played back when it came out, and I thought it was excellent. So I definitely want to get the port of 1 and 2 and play through those, and then play 3 when that comes out. There were also a couple of other announcements that I wasn't quite as excited about as some other people, but I was watching with my friend Hirosashii, and one thing that was revealed from Bandai Namco was Soul Calibur. So now Soul Calibur 6 is going to be coming out. Don't know when at this point, and people are speculating on who's going to be the guest characters for Soul Calibur, because that's a big thing for that series. So that's exciting for fighting game fans, I guess, but I'm not really into fighting games. We also got another Death Stranding trailer. This is the longest one. It was like 8 or 9 minutes or something, and it had a very, very strange, I guess, premise to this trailer. There was no gameplay. It's just a cinematic, and it had Norma Reedus, and just this very odd, like, air to it. And the funny thing is, like, at the very end of the trailer, it had, like, this music that sounded like Stranger Things. We still have no idea what it's going to be like as far as gameplay goes. I just know that it's going to be pretty insane coming from Kojima, since he has, like, no restraint now. I have still yet to play any of Kojima's games. I've never played a Metal Gear, but I will at some point. That's all I can think of off the top of my head of reveals that happened, but some interesting things happened on stage. First of all, the orchestra in the very beginning didn't really sound that good, but they sounded better later when they came back and played some more stuff. It's very unfortunate because I just saw the Zelda Symphony last month and they were excellent, so yeah, seeing this orchestra and just hearing them, I'm like, yeah, they're not as good. They did a rendition of Jump Up Superstar at the very end, and they had a woman come out to sing. Yeah, that was lip-synced. It had to be. The mic didn't look like it was attached to anything, and it didn't look like she was, like, actually belting out anything, and it sounded way too perfect. That had to be the track from the game. The audio track, or the vocal track from the game, because that was way too perfect. That can't be, like, not lip-synced. That has to be lip-synced. I think they just had the woman come out for show. Then there was the really awkward presentation from Joseph Fares. I don't know how exactly to pronounce his last name, but Joseph came up and he was talking about A Way Out, the game that he's working on. He previously did Brothers of Tale of Two Sons, which is really good. I really recommend that. And this is like a split screen multiplayer game where two people play through the game, and it's sort of like a cinematic type thing from what it looks like. And yeah, he sounded kind of drunk or on drugs or something, and he kept talking for longer than he should have, and he was like flipping off the camera and dropping a whole bunch of F-bombs. Some people liked that and thought it was funny, but I was just kind of like cringing in my seat, being like, no, you are ruining yourself right now. Especially since he said some things about EA, which I know EA has been, like, terrible lately. But the thing is, this game that he's working on is an EA original indie game. So, he was talking smack about EA on stage when he's working with them. Is like, dude, something's coming for you. I don't know what it is, but it's something. That was probably the most awkward moment of the show. Everything else was fine. I will say I enjoyed this Game Awards a lot more than previous ones because it had games that I actually cared about. I was glad to see Cuphead and Breath of the Wild get their recognition. And there was actually a trailer I really cared about because it was Bayonetta, and that's great. So like I said in the beginning of this video, I did a stream on Twitch, so if you want to see that, where me and my friend Hirosashii talk over the Game Awards and talk about what's going on, you can see it in the description. The entire thing's on there, so you can watch it and see what our reactions. There are some things that we reacted to that were pretty funny, like the game GTFO. Like, I was breaking down because they actually called it GTFO. That was hilarious. So, yeah, if you saw the Game Awards, tell me what you thought of it down in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.
were getting a bit used to winter, like soldiers in the middle of a campaign, growing hardened to discomfort and better able to